How's it going, everybody? For those of you that don't know, my name is Shane Whalley, and I am the driver of the Ice 9 Group GTO Drift Car. Now, I've had a lot of questions coming in regarding the car, about what I did to make it a competitive chassis for drifting, all the custom parts I built. So I want to start posting a bunch of videos answering questions that everybody has out there. So send me in your questions about the car, and I'll be more than happy to answer them in a video and run through portions of the car showing what I've done to it, chassis modifications, custom suspension parts, and all that. For this first video though, I just want to go through and tell a little bit about myself, how I got into drifting, and why I chose to build the GTO. Now, I got into drifting quite some time ago, probably back in 2004, 2005 when I was still in high school. Back then when we were doing it, we didn't even really know what drifting was. We were just a bunch of guys sliding around our rear-wheel drive cars trying to have fun, you know. But in 2011, the Motor City Mayhem Tour was holding a regional series here in Detroit, Michigan. I had a 1983 Toyota Celica Supra that I built, and that car was a piece of shit. It was a 5M car with a big turbo on it, laggy as hell, cut springs, blown out shocks, hydraulic handbrake that worked sometimes, terrible tune, and it was very difficult to drive. Now, being a very difficult car to drive was probably the best thing that I could have ever done for getting into drifting, because it taught me a lot about car control right off the bat. It forced me to push myself as a driver to compete and hang with everybody else. Now, coming to the end of the season in 2011, I was leading in points and actually ended up winning the championship for the series. So after that, I decided I wanted to take it one step further and build a competitive car. Now, when it came to building a competitive car for Pro-Am, there were the obvious choices like a Nissan 240, FCRX7, SC300, you know, all those things along that line that you see out there on the track all the time. But I wanted to do something different, and I didn't have a lot of money to do it with. Now, what a lot of people don't know is they think this GTO that I have was some sort of salvage auction, you know, wrecked GTO that I just picked up for cheap and decided to build into a drift car. But actually, this was my daily driver for about 5 years. I bought this car brand new practically. It had about 6,000 or 7,000 miles on it, I want to say. And being short on money and wanting to build something, it already had a V8 in it, you know, a good LS motor, T56 trans, and a perfect starting point for a drift car. So I just dug into it. I parted all the interior out to fund parts for the build, do the roll cage and all that stuff. It was pretty difficult. It was a hard car to start with and make into a competitive chassis for sure. Now, doing a GTO, which is something completely different, which nobody's really done before, was the hardest part. Now, a lot of people will say, yeah, you know, Reese Millen built one back in 2004, 2005, and that's true, but back then FD cars were not nearly as competitive as they are now. You look at some of the Pro-Am cars running on the track nowadays, and they are far superior to what FD cars were back in 2004, 5, and 6. So when I dug into this, it was basically pioneering a whole new chassis and, you know, starting from scratch. So I had to go through and build all the suspension components, the roll cage, steering knuckles, steering shafts, tie rod ends, tube chassis, everything. So I want to know what your questions are about the car, and I will go through the specifics on it in future videos. So comment down below. Let me know what you want to know about the car, and I'll be sure to post a video about it. All right? See you guys later.